Welcome everyone. Today's lecture is on adrenergic drugs, which is also known as sympathomimetics. So these are the drugs which mainly act on the sympathetic nervous system. That is why they are called as adrenergic drugs or sympathomimetics. Learning objective. By the end of this lecture, you will be able to classify adrenergic agonists, explain mechanism of action and pharmacological properties of adrenergic agonists, discuss clinical uses and doses of adrenergic agonists, and discuss adverse effects of adrenergic agonists. Let's study about adrenergic drugs. The various synonyms of adrenergic drugs are sympathomimetics, sympathetic drugs. Why? Because they mainly act on the sympathetic nervous system and they are going to mimic the action similar to that of adrenaline. So that is why they are also called as sympathomimetics, sympathetic drugs. The other synonyms are adrenergic agonist, adrenoceptor activating drug, adrenomimetic drugs. Why? Because they mainly act on the adrenergic receptors, that is alpha and beta receptor, and they are going to generate a pharmacological response. So that is why they are also called as adrenergic agonists, adrenoceptor activating drugs, and adrenomimetic drugs. Let's see the definition of adrenergic drugs. These are the drugs with action similar to that of adrenaline or of sympathetic stimulations. So these drugs produces actions which are similar to adrenaline. Why? Because adrenaline is the main neurotransmitter in the sympathetic nervous system. Let's see the classification of adrenergic drugs. Adrenergic drugs is classified into two categories. The first one is according to the mechanism of action, and second one is according to the therapeutic uses. So first we will study according to the mechanism of action. It is classified into three categories. The first one is direct sympathomimetics. That means they are going to act directly on alpha and beta adrenergic receptors as agonists. So examples of those drugs are adrenaline, noradrenaline, asuprenaline, phenylephrine, methoxamine, and xylomethazoline, etc. Second is indirect sympathomimetics. That means they are going to act indirect. How means first they are going to act on the adrenergic neuron, thereby they are going to causes the release of noradrenaline. So that noradrenaline is going to act on the adrenergic receptors and thus they are going to generate a pharmacological response. So examples of those drugs are tyramine, amphetamine. Third category is mixed action sympathomimetics. So they are going to have dual action. That means they are going to act directly and as well as indirectly. Example is ephedrine, dopamine, mephen, termine. So in today's lecture, we are going to study in detail the pharmacology of adrenaline, which is a prototype drug. Second is asuprenaline and phenylephrine, which are coming under direct sympathomimetic. And next, we are going to study the pharmacology of amphetamine, which is going to come under the indirect sympathomimetics. Let's see the second classification, that is according to the therapeutic uses. It is further classified into 7 categories. The first one is pressor agent. That means these are the drugs which reduces or causes a fall in BP. Examples are noradrenaline, ephedrine, dopamine, phenylephrine, methoxamine, mephentermine. Second is cardiac stimulant. Okay, so that means they are going to increases the activity of the heart. Thereby, they are going to causes increase in the heart rate, increase in the force of contraction, further leads to increase in the cardiac output. Examples are adrenaline, asuprenaline, dobutamine. Third category is bronchodilators. So they are going to causes the relaxation of the bronchial smooth muscle and they are going to relieve the bronchospasm. Okay, so examples are asuprenaline, salbutamol, terbutaline, salmeterol, formoterol, bomboterol. Next is nasal decongestants. So here, these are the drugs which are going to reduces the nasal swelling and congestion. Examples of those drugs are xylomethazoline, oxymetazoline, nafazoline, phenylephrine, phenylpropanol, amine, pseudoephedrine. Next category is CNS stimulant. That means these are the drugs which are going to increases the activity of CNS. Examples are amphetamine, dexamphetamine, methamphetamine, methylphenidate. Next category is anorectic. So these are the drugs which are going to reduces the appetite and decreases the food intake. Examples are amphetamine, fenfuramine, dexfenfuramine, sibutramine. And the last category is uterine relaxant. That means they are going to relaxes the uterine muscles. Example is ritodrine, isoxaprine, salbutamol, and terbutaline. So this completes the classification of adrenergic drugs. So first we will study regarding the direct sympathomimetics, in that adrenaline, which is a prototype drug, and it is also known as epinephrine. So what adrenaline is going to do means it is going to act directly as agonist on alpha and beta adrenergic receptor. So that is why it is coming under direct sympathomimetic category. Mechanism of action is that it is going to act directly on alpha receptor, that is alpha 1, alpha 2, beta receptor, that is beta 1, beta 2 receptors, which are located on the cell membrane, but it is having very weak beta 3 action. So next we will see the pharmacological effects of adrenaline, first on heart. So adrenaline is going to act on the beta 1 receptors, which is located on the myocardium, and it is going to stimulate the heart. That means it is going to cause us increase in the heart rate, which is also known as tachycardia. And scientifically, it is called as positive chronotropic effect. So chronotropic effect means increase in the heart. And secondly, it is going to cause us increase in the force of contractility, so which is known as positive inotropic effect. Okay. So inotropic effect means increase in the force of contraction. Positive means increase in the force of contraction. And positive chronotropic effect means increase in the heart rate. So this chronotropic effect and inotropic effect, so both are going to increases the cardiac output. So once cardiac output is going to get increased, it will further causes increase in the atomicity of SA node, that is increase in the generation of impulse. And next, it is also going to increases the conduction velocity of AV node. So that is also known as positive dromotropic effect. So this are the action of adrenaline by acting on beta 1 receptor. So there are three actions, that is positive chronotropic effect, increase in the heart rate, positive inotropic effect, that is increase in the force of contraction, and positive dromotropic effect, that is increase in the conduction velocity of AV node. So next is that by acting on the beta 2 receptors, adrenaline is going to increases the coronary blood flow. So this completes the action of adrenaline on heart. Next is on blood vessel. It is going to show both vasoconstriction by means of alpha receptor and vasodilation by means of beta 2 receptor. So small doses of adrenaline constrict some peripheral cutaneous blood vessels, and that is going to account for its alpha effect, and it is going to dilate the blood vessels of skeletal muscle, that is a beta 2 effect. So remember, alpha receptors or alpha effect is going to constrict the peripheral blood vessel, whereas beta 2 effect is going to dilate the blood vessels of skeletal muscle. Okay. Next, very important is blood pressure. So adrenaline is going to cause us increase in the systolic BP and decrease in the diastolic BP. So the increase in the systolic BP is basically due to increase in the cardiac output that just now we have seen, that is a beta 1 effect, and also due to the alpha effect, that is vasoconstriction. Next important, very important point related to adrenaline is that when adrenaline is injected intravenous, the BP is going to get increases initially, and then there is a fall in BP. Okay, so this is known as biphasic response. Okay, so when adrenaline is injected IV, there is an increase in BP initially, and after some time, the BP is going to get fall. So this is known as biphasic response. So the mechanism behind this one is that when you are going to inject adrenaline, the adrenaline will be at high concentration. So at high concentration of adrenaline, it is going to stimulate alpha receptors. Okay, so by stimulating alpha receptor, what will happen? Vasoconstriction, and that vasoconstriction is going to happen even in the skeletal muscle, and that is going to increases the BP. Okay, and after some time, the concentration of adrenaline is going to get decreases, and then it is going to act on the beta 2 receptors, and that is going to cause us a fall in BP. See, beta 2 receptors is going to cause us vasodilation. So due to vasodilation, there is a fall in BP. So this was observed by Sir Henry Day. Okay, so what he has done is that he has first injected an alpha blocker. After that, he has given adrenaline. Okay, so what is going to happen means there is a fall in BP. Why? Because alpha blocker is going to block the alpha receptors. Now adrenaline has to act only on the beta receptors. So by acting on the beta receptors, it is going to cause us a fall in BP. So this is known as vasomotor reversal of Day. This is very, very important concept. Okay. So in this graph also, you can see that first graph is indicating the effect of adrenaline on BP. Okay, so this is the ranges of BP. See, when you are going to inject the BP IB, the concentration is going to be very high. That is, it is going to stimulate the alpha receptors, and there is an increase in BP, that is up to 160 mmHg. Okay, so after some time, the concentration of adrenaline is going to get decreases. It is going to act on the beta 2 receptors, and due to which there is a fall in BP, that is 100 mmHg. Okay, so this concept was studied by Sir Henry Dale. So what he has done is that before administering adrenaline, he administered the alpha blocker. So what is the role of alpha blocker is that they are going to block the alpha receptor. Okay. So after giving alpha blocker, he injected the adrenaline. Okay. So now adrenaline has to act only on beta receptor because alpha receptors are already blocked. So by acting on the beta receptor, it is going to cause us a fall in BP because beta receptor is going to cause us vasodilation. So this is known as vasomotor reversal of Dale. Next is respiration. So on respiration, adrenaline is going to act as a potent bronchodilator. Okay, so adrenaline is going to stimulate the beta 2 receptors, and it is going to cause us the relaxation of bronchial smooth muscle and thereby relieves the bronchospasm. Next on bladder, here it is going to relax the detusor by means of beta receptors, and trigone is constricted by means of alpha receptor. So both the action is going to hinder the micturition. Uterus. So on uterus, adrenaline can both contract and as well as relaxes the uterine muscle respectively through the alpha and beta receptor. So alpha will always contract and beta is going to relax the uterine muscle. Next is splenic capsule. It is going to contract by means of alpha receptor and more RBC are poured in circulation. CNS, adrenaline doesn't crosses the blood-brain barrier, so that is why it is having very little effect on central nervous system. Metabolic, adrenaline is going to cause us glycogenolysis, so due to which there will be an increase in the blood glucose level, and also there will be an increase in the blood lactic acid. That is a beta 2 effect, and it is also going to cause us lipolysis, due to which there will be a rise in the plasma free fatty acid, and calorigenesis, which is both beta 2 and beta 3 effect. So these are mainly due to the direct action on the liver, muscle, and adipose tissue cell. Next is eye. So on eye, it is going to cause us mydriasis. Mydriasis means that is the dilation of pupil. So how it is going to do? Mainly by contracting the radial muscle of iris, which is an alpha effect. And one more action is that it is going to decreases the intraocular pressure, mainly by decreasing the aqueous humor formation and increases the aqueous outflow. So that is why adrenaline is also useful in the treatment of glaucoma. Let's see the adverse effect of adrenaline: tremor, anxiety, headache, dizziness, and respiratory difficulty. And large doses of adrenaline may cause sudden death. And the reason behind that one is due to the pulmonary edema and cardiac arrhythmias. In that also, that is ventricular fibrillation. Next contraindication of adrenaline is that it is basically contraindicated in heart disease, basically as angina pectoris, hypertension, hyperglycemia, diabetes mellitus, hyperthyroidism. Why? Because thyroid hormone is going to increases the sensitivity of heart to catecholamines, and that will further leads to the arrhythmias. Next, therapeutic uses. First use is that it is going to prolong the duration of action of local anesthetics, mainly by delaying their absorption. Thereby, they are going to minimize the potential systemic toxicity. Next is that they are able to restore the cardiac activity in case of cardiac arrest by means of by giving direct intracardiac injection. Next is that it may also act as a physiological antidote to reverse the hypotension associated with anaphylactic shock. Anaphylactic shock means it's a very life-threatening condition or allergic reactions. Next is bronchial asthma and COPD. In the treatment of bronchoasthma and COPD, so here beta 2 stimulants are the primary drug for the relief of reversible airway obstruction. Topically, the adrenaline is used as a mydriatic. That means to dilate the pupil during the fundus examination, and also they are useful to decrease the intraocular pressure. So that is why it is useful in the treatment of glaucoma. Next is for the treatment of mild allergic condition, and that too localized only, such as urticaria, duck allergy, and it is also used to treat hypoglycemia, mainly in emergency cases only. So this complete regarding the adrenaline. Now the second one is azoprenalin. So azoprenalin is a synthetic direct acting sympathomimetic drugs, and it is going to have only the beta receptor action. That is, it is going to act through beta receptor only. That is beta 1, beta 2, beta 3. It is having no effect on alpha receptors. So remember, azoprenalin is having only beta receptor action and no alpha receptor action. Pharmacological effect of azoprenalin is that they also increases the force and rate of myocardial contraction, leading to increased cardiac output, and they also causes the relaxation of bronchial smooth muscle and GIT. Adverse effect is that they are very similar to the adverse effect of epinephrine or adrenaline, but overdosage can induces the fatal ventricular arrhythmias. So that is abnormal heartbeat, mainly in the lower chamber of the heart. Therapeutic uses azoprenalin, which is also known as azopregrenol. It is used as a bronchodilator and also as a cardiac stimulant, and it is available in solution for nebulization, injections, or sublingual tablets. Next is phenylephrine, which is a very selective alpha 1 agonist. It is also a synthetic direct acting sympathomimetic agent, and it is going to stimulate alpha receptor, and that too it is having the selective action. And among alpha 1 and alpha 2, it is going to stimulate alpha 1 only. Okay, its effects are similar to those of norepinephrine, but it is less potent and has a longer duration of action. Adverse effect is that large doses can cause cardiac arrhythmias, and ophthalmic solution, that is ophthalmic solution as well as intranasal solution. Okay, the solutions which can be poured into the eye and into the nose, so that can be systematically observed, causing some cardiac arrhythmia. The solutions, the ophthalmic solution and intranasal solutions containing phenylephrine, so they can be systematically, means it is going to get observed into the blood. If it is going to get observed into the blood, it may cause us cardiac arrhythmias. Rebound, that is again nasal congestion can occur because of its chronic use as a nasal decongestant if used by children. Therapeutic uses is that it is basically used as a nasal decongestant, that is to reduces the nasal swelling and congestion and mydriatics. As a pressor agent to prevent the hypertension during the spinal anesthesia, and also to provide the local vasoconstriction with local anesthetic to prolong the duration and decreases the toxicity. Now, the last drug, that is amphetamine, which comes under indirect sympathomimetics, or it is also known as CNS stimulant. That means these are the drugs which is going to increases the activity of central nervous system. So it is having two actions. So first, central action is that it is going to increases the activity of CNS, mainly by releasing the norepinephrine in the brain. And peripheral action is indirect sympathomimetic action. That means it is going to act on the adrenergic neuron and causes the release of epinephrine and norepinephrine. So that epinephrine and norepinephrine, they are going to act on the alpha and beta receptors. They are going to stimulate those receptors, and they are going to produce the actions which are very much similar to epinephrine. Central action is that it is a very potent CNS stimulant, causing wakefulness, alertness, decreases the sense of fatigue. It also going to elevate the mood, that is euphoria, increases the confidence and ability to concentrate, and also increases the motor and speech activity. So this is all CNS related effect. Next is that it is going to causes weight loss through anorexic effect. That means they are going to decreases the appetite and also decreases the food intake by inhibition of feeding center plus increased physical activity. Uses is that for narcolepsy, that is a sleep disorder during which the person is going to sleep during the day, and depression and behavioral disorder. It is also used as analeptic, that means to stimulate the CNS, basically in patient who is suffering from depression, and the treatment of obesity in order to cause weight loss. And it is also very effective in the treatment of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which is basically seen or by hyperkinetic kids and children up to 3 to 5%. So what is this miss? This is basically characterized by forgetfulness, hyperactivity, inattention, and poor impulse control. So for the treatment of ADHD, we can make use of amphetamine, and methylphenidate. And this amphetamine is also used as adjuvant in Parkinsonism disease. Okay, so this completes regarding the adrenergic drugs, which is also known as sympathomimetic drugs. Thank you.